The complexity of a woman's body makes it difficult for some men to satisfy their women during intercourse. Unlike men, women need a lot of stimulation to get them in the mood. However, there are basic women's body parts that can turn them on, which is what I will be sharing with you in today's video. What's up my kings, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Lizzy Fresh and I am back with another video for you my lovelies. Without further ado, let's dive right into some of these basic body parts. A lot of men do not know how very sensitive around the neck is for women, so a lot of men always neglect this part. And I'm not saying you should jump right in and just start manhandling her neck. I'm trying to say take your time, because for women it takes really long to build up some tension and get them in the mood. So take your time. You can do this when you are like kissing her. When you are kissing, then you can start caressing around her neck, especially this point, like they are very sensitive. You do this and you can slowly kiss it. Don't be rough, don't even try to rush it. Just take things and build it up slowly. Another part of the body that a lot of men neglect is around the earlobe and behind the earlobe. This is a very sensitive part, so if you're trying to turn a woman on, you really have to look into that part. You might not have to jump into it, like I said. Take things slow, build it up bit by bit. You can go from the kissing of the neck, caressing her neck, and then you move to her ear and her earlobe. If you want to build more tension, you can go ahead and whisper into her ear while you do this. Trust me, for a lot of women, this will drive them crazy. And even if you are already having intercourse, like she's already on your bed, still do this because it stimulates women. It just gives, I don't know, it turns us on. So if that is really what you are looking to achieve, you should not neglect the earlobe and the back of the ear. Another place a lot of men really neglect is behind the knees, even the knees itself. So you can start building up the tension by caressing the knees bit by bit, and then now you move your hand slowly behind the knees. And please don't make it too soft of a touch and also make it very rough. Make sure it's just between soft and too rough. Let it be in between, because if it's too soft, it might just be ticklish and that will not turn her on, because that part is very sensitive. So don't just make it soft. Try to make it, mouth and build up the tension. And if you are already in a position where you can get your mouth to that place, you can also kiss around there. Behind the knees, kiss around there, and maybe use your tongue to play around there a little bit. Trust me, this will drive her very nuts. Now, turning the woman on, making sure she's enjoying the moment and satisfying the woman takes a lot. So you have to really be patient as you put in all this sensitive part, as you touch them, caress them, kiss them, and do whatever you want to do with them. Just make sure you take your time, and also pay attention to her body language, how she's responding to the places you are touching her, because some of these body parts might not really work for some women, but if you are touching her in a place that she likes, her body will respond accordingly and you will know that she's actually enjoying it. Now, the next place you don't want to neglect is her thighs. The woman's thigh have a lot of nerves and is very sensitive. And like I mentioned earlier, try not to make your touch too soft, as this might just be ticklish and not give her any kind of sexual arousement. So make sure you make your touch like a bit masculine, not too rough though. Make sure you just touch her, caress her thighs, move your hands around it slowly and steadily, and make sure you watch her body language as you do this. If she's responding positively to that, then you know you should build up more tension around her thighs, because this is really going to make her enjoy the moment and actually get you to satisfy her at the end of the day. Now, as you continue building tension around her thighs, the next place you're supposed to move to get this tension up is around her back. Like the woman's back is a very sensitive part, especially the upper part of the back and the lower part. You have to move your hand around these areas. And if you're in a position where you can actually kiss it, just act like you're giving her like a premium massage and gently kiss around the higher and upper part of her back and the lower part. It has like this nerves and it has this kind of sharp enjoyment kind of level it gives to women. So just pay attention to that part and continue to build up the tension and continue to watch her body language. This is where you see a lot of women start getting goosebumps. Like if it's someone that gets goosebumps, you start seeing the goosebumps on her body, and now you know you are doing something right. So continue to build up that tension, and now to create even more sexual tension, move your hand slowly down around her waist and now her buttocks. Now, this is going to create a lot of sexual tension, especially if you're now moving your hand up in between her inner thighs and then her butt cheeks. Now she's expecting you to actually touch the coochie, but you are not going to touch it. So she's expecting, she's so like tense. She wants to know what's your next move. Even though she's enjoying the moment, she still wants you to go there like immediately. But don't do that. Still keep building up the tension and keep building up the anticipation. Let her anticipate what you're about to do next, and just keep moving your hand in between her inner thighs and her buttocks, her butt cheek, like you know where the coochie is, but don't touch the coochie. Just keep moving your hands around there, and please try to make sure your touches are not too soft. Make them as masculine as possible. Don't make them rough too. Just keep moving your hand around there, and trust me, this is going to build up a lot of tension. And women that are bold enough can even tell you to just do it already, because it's like, I am so blown, and trust me, this will get her very wet. So pay attention. This area is very, very sensitive. When you do this, trust me, a woman is going to want you to just go in like immediately. Now, the fourth very sensitive part of a woman's body you should pay attention to is the back of her head. This place is very, very sensitive, and you should really use it to your advantage, especially if you're trying to make sure your woman is enjoying the moment. You can do this when you are kissing her, and then you take your hand slowly to the back of her head and caress it. Make sure your hand is running through her hair, if she has like hair, running through her hair and touching the scalp around that area. You can also move your hand around the scalp in her head and play with her hair if she has long hair. This will really build up a lot of sexual tension. And if you can, make sure you keep eye contact while you do all this, because this kind of build up some level of intimacy and makes her really feel every touch you give her. Satisfying a woman is an art, and if you know how to perform this art right, you would have women falling at your feet, because it's not something a lot of men do. A lot of men pay attention to just the penetration, thinking that will make things work. And most time you just leave the woman unsatisfied, and maybe sometimes they have to go look for another way to satisfy themselves. So another part of the woman's body you should really pay attention to is the abdomen. Build up some certain kind of pressure around her lower abdomen. Again, watch her response, because this might not work for a lot of women, but some people find it very, very intriguing. So make sure you move your hand slowly around her lower abdomen and see how she reacts to it. If she's reacting positively, now you know to continue putting in more pressure and tension around there. Another place you shouldn't neglect is the inside of the elbow. I don't know what it's called. I mean, like here, this area. This you can actually use when you are still trying to get her in the mood, like you're still trying to get her in bed. You can just caress around this area. It's as sensitive as behind the knees. So you can just caress around this area while you kiss her. Just keep an eye contact. You can even do it when you're just talking to her. Just slowly caress this area. And trust me, this is going to build up the sexual tension for you. And then you can go ahead and apply the other parts of the body that I already mentioned. Another place that you shouldn't neglect is her palm and her fingertips. Now, this is somewhere a lot of men would not pay attention to. But you know, our fingertips are very sensitive, that we can even feel dust with it. So that is how sensitive it is, and that is how it comes to play even for a woman's body. So now you can do this even when you are already on bed with her, and you can also do it before you get in bed with her. You can just caress around her palm. You can put your palm behind hers and just slowly caress her with your thumb. When you are doing this, you are building up the tension, and you can now move all your palm slowly around hers and also around her fingertips. Now, if you want to drive her even more nuts, now suck on her fingertips bit by bit. You can do this for all the fingers, just one after the other. Again, watch how she reacts to this. If she finds it interesting and you see that her whole body is reacting to that, just keep it going. Slowly suck on her fingers bit by bit. You can also build up this tension when you are already having intercourse with her by making sure your palms are in hers and you hold it very tight and firm as you do your going in and coming out. This really makes it very interesting for women. So this part is very sensitive and you should not neglect it. Now, some of the ways you can know that your woman is really enjoying all these things you are doing is first her eyes. You will just see the change in her eyes movement, like it becomes a bit more tiny and sexual, so you know she's enjoying it. Another thing is her breath. You see, like, because we are building up a sexual tension, you see that her breath changes and her heart begins to beat like a bit faster than it would on a normal day. Another thing is her waist and hip movement. When women are enjoying your touches and whatever you're doing with them, you see them move their waist a lot, even if the touch is not around the waist. So pay attention to these areas as they would let you know if she's enjoying what you're doing or not. If you are doing all this and you see that she's just stiff and nothing is going on, switch to another part of the body and see what works for your woman. Now, another part of the body you should explore is under the feet and the toes. These places are very, very sensitive. I get very ticklish on my toes and I can't even explain it. Even when I go to paint my toenails, like I go to polish my toenails, I have to be very careful not to laugh in the salon and get people looking at me like so weird. So that place is very ticklish, so you need to be very careful. As you don't want, the goal is not to make her ticklish, the goal is to turn her on and make her enjoy the moment. So don't be too soft with your touches. You can just act like you're giving her like a foot massage. I don't know how many of you have tried the foot massage and see how relaxing it can be. Do that with your woman. Give it like this masculine touch, not too rough, not too soft, and then you can move to her toes and slowly caress around her toes. If you can and you are comfortable with it, you can also go ahead and suck on her toes. These are things a lot of men would not do, so that is why it's going to build up a lot of sexual tension for her, because she might not have even had her toes sucked ever. So now when you do it, it's new and it makes it very fun and interesting for her. Satisfying a woman is an art, and just like every other art, it requires time and patience. So be patient with her as you do all this and build up this tension. This is an art that if you master, like I mentioned earlier, you are going to have a lot of women falling at your feet, because not a lot of men pay attention to these things. A lot of men are only about the penetration, and that doesn't work for women at all. A woman's body is built so differently from a man's body, so you have to pay attention to these things if you want to stand out and satisfy your woman. When you know these things, you end up being able to turn your woman on, make the moment enjoyable for her, and also at the end of the day, satisfy her. Now, another thing you want to do to also build up this tension and make it very memorable for a woman is to communicate. If you can, make sure you're asking her how she's feeling at every point in time whenever you are touching her. Like you move to a particular part of her body, you ask her how she's enjoying it. And also you can compliment that part of her body that you are touching. Maybe you are touching her thigh and you're like, oh, your thighs are so beautiful. I never knew you had such beautiful thighs. I never knew you had such beautiful back. All these things are going to be part of building up the tension and making the moments very memorable for her. And this is where you get your woman always running back to you. Like you even break up with her and you see her always coming back, because like I mentioned, not a lot of men out there know how to do this at all. So when you learn this art, you are really on the go. So that's it for this video, my kings. Please do let me know if you found this video interesting and informative as well. Please do well to subscribe if you haven't done that already. Turn on the notification bell, like this video, drop a comment down below, share this video with your family and friends, and see you in the next one. Bye.